followers, and welcome back to MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft, and for the final time at the lab base here. So, this is going to be our last full episode at the lab. This is also going to be my final episode in MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft in 1.7, and in today's episode we're going to be taking a world tour of, well, our world here. So, for those of you who are perhaps new to the series in the past 10 months or so, I have been at the lab base since November 2013. We're now in September 2014, and it's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of projects that we've done over those 10 months in all sorts of aspects. We've done a lot of building, we've done a lot of mob and item farming, amongst many, many other things. Now, this video is probably going to get pretty long. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. I might split it into two parts if it does get long. So the next two episodes are likely to be this world tour here. And then the next episode after that will be probably episode 150. And we will be going into 1.8 in that video. So I hope you are going to be interested in joining me. I am really, really excited to do this video with you guys. It's been quite a long time coming, to be honest. And, by the way, if anything seems a little off this video in terms of motion and things like that, I've actually changed a little bit of my setup. I actually got myself a second monitor, so my monitor is not in the position it normally is, and it's taken a little bit of getting used to, so I do apologize for that. So, where to start? Well, I guess probably the appropriate place to start is where it all began. So, we need to head over here for that. So, this here is the infamous Fret's cabin. This is where the magic happens. This used to have stuff in here. It wasn't just this empty chest. There used to be a crafting area for quite some time in there, actually, and all my stuff was in there until I developed the storage system. And this was my branch mine. So this was, at the time, very, very simple. It's been developed a lot since. But this was my staircase mine down to Y11. And this is where I did my branch mining. Right the way through, actually. I'm not going to spend too long looking at this, as it's pretty boring. So this is my branch mine. Yay. Not too much to talk about with the branch mine, it has to be said. It is what it is. So we're not going to spend any longer than that looking here. So that was pretty much the early game base building stuff that was at the base. Shortly after that, we actually worked on developing the lab building itself. That was the first official project, I believe, was the actual building. So let's take a look at that. So, this is the lab. This is Fret's lab. I guess there's not really an official name for it. I've always referred to it as the lab. Some people refer to it as Fret's lab, though. Either way, I mean, I know what you're talking about when you mention the lab. So, this is the actual building, which I deem the lab. The rest of the base kind of is considered part of the lab base, rather than just the lab. This is a book that we placed last episode that talks about my goals and objectives with this base. So if you want to read about that, you'll be able to see for yourself very, very soon. So this is, I guess we kind of skipped over a lot of stuff, huh? Let's talk about the first floor and what this is. So initially, all of this floor was quartz, and I wanted to save a lot of quartz. So what I did was I replaced it with a bunch of coal blocks and hardened clay. And this became abstract art. I tried to create some abstract art in the floor, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. These were meant to be sort of like little offices in here, as you can see. We've got some tables and workbenches. This is kind of an office space, if anything. This is kind of like a little desk. The bed never really had a proper place, so I always just use this as the bed. And speaking of which, it's going to be nighttime, so we're going to want to sleep. There we go. This also contains my portal to the nether. So if I ever want to go to the nether, I go through that portal right there. And this was the actual lab testing facility. So we have some brewing stands here. These were sort of workstations and tables where things would be examined. We got some flowers in here for decoration. We have our exhibits. the very rare ore in there, which is in a glass container. We have the rare and possibly exotic plants, I guess, that exist in that there. And then we have the quirky experiments. We have a dinnerbone cow, we have a jeb sheep, and we have a mushroom. And for those of you who were wondering how I got the mushroom here, I found a mushroom biome before I arrived at this base, and what I did is I got a mushroom from that mushroom biome, and I led it through the nether to get it to here. That was quite a painful exercise, it has to be said. It took a long time to do that. So, this is a little outdoor seating area for people who want to take a break from their work or whatever. Coffee break, lunch break, whatever. My overall thoughts on the lab is that it's probably my most favorite building ever that I've built. In not only my world here, but in general. I'm really, really proud of this building. I am incredibly proud of the way that it turned out. Because generally, for those of you who follow me, particularly in other series, you'll know that while I do like to build, I'm not known as a builder. I'm not kind of, you know, the BOO standard or people like that, you know. I'm not really a builder. I'm more of a survivalist. And it was kind of a challenge for me to put this together. And I actually based this off of a photo. I did some research on Google. And I think I eventually found a science lab that was part of a university. And I actually kind of transferred what I saw in the picture into Minecraft. And it turned out pretty good. This is not something that I came up with from my own imagination. Oh gosh, no. I could never think of something like this. I wanted a grey texture, and there's not really many grey blocks in this game that I was really going for. Half slabs, they look okay, but the problem with half slabs is when they stack upon each other, they look very sort of vertical, and it's too much. It's too intrusive. Like you can see up there in the roof, they kind of stack on top of each other, and there's that big ugly line through the middle, and I'm not too keen on using that for walls. So I ended up actually settling on regular clay. Now the problem with this is that Enderman can sometimes take it. So I have to keep on top of that. But generally, probably only 3 or 4 blocks in the entire time I've been at this base have actually been taken. So it's not been a big problem. I've generally kept around here pretty well lit. So they're not really after the clay blocks because they don't spawn too much. So I think that's all I can talk about with regards to the lab. Oh, you know what I never did? I never put the map back, did I? I'm gonna have to update the world download. I'll have to put that back after this episode. I didn't think about that. The map was... I took it off the wall because maps kept disappearing, so I put them all in a chest until I was ready to release the world download. Looks like I missed that. So I'll go ahead and take care of that before I release the world download. It'll take 2-3 minutes, no doubt, just to go ahead and do that. So, I guess now, what was the next thing we worked on? I guess the farm stacks, maybe? Let's talk about them anyway. I don't know the exact order I built things in. Maybe it would just be more convenient to go around everything on the surface, then do underground. Then we've got all the mesa to cover and the nether stuff, so we've got quite a bit to look at yet. So, these are farm stacks, and this is sort of my own contraption. I don't know whether I would say that I would universally invented this. It's nothing new. It's just a load of dispensers at the very top here that break these, and it flows down, and eventually they get collected by hoppers. And there is a redstone mechanism down here that determines the amount that I need to replant, and that goes over here, and then the rest go to the storage room, which is down through this chain of hoppers and down below us. So this was probably my first attempt at anything particularly complex with redstone, and it's a little bit of a mess in here actually, the more I look at it. It was really difficult. I remember this being incredibly hard. I still wouldn't be able to improve much upon this now, to be honest. But it was really difficult to get that exact amount that I wanted to replant and then send the rest down. And I think I ended up redesigning the redstone for that twice. Because the first time I did it, was a really big, bulky mess, and then the second time it got a bit better, but the third time I really condensed it and was pretty happy with it. So this is my sort of farms for netherwort, carrots, and potatoes, and the colours are kind of, that they represent that, basically. So carrots are orange, potatoes are yellow, and netherwort is red. So these are my little farm stacks, and I did actually use this for a long time for my food supply until I built the chicken farm, which in the grand scheme of things was a pretty recent addition. So this is very similar over here. This has the same premise. This is the wheat farm. This arrived much later. This was one of the more recent projects. The idea is much the same here. This only has 2 floors though, but there's more wheat here than in the farm stacks as the fields are larger. So I kind of figured I would need more wheat, so... And, oh yeah, I forgot to put that lever back. I'm going to find so many things, just like little jobs, that I need to do before I release the world download. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, stuff like that I would just miss. It's only now, when I actually look at it in detail, that I see those sorts of things. So, I might have to start writing the list out at the moment, with the way things are going here. So this is the cactus farm. It's a big dome, and this is just your standard cactus farm. This has been in place for a long time. This is not a revolution by any stretch. So what this is, let's hopefully see if one grows while we're stood here. There are rows of cactus, and then when the cactus grows, the fence next to it causes the block to update and pop off. And then most of the cactus, except for the few that get destroyed, and it is minimal, get pushed by this water current down here into the center where there is a hopper that then takes it to the storage room. Very, very simple stuff. This lever here out front, that's designed to determine whether I turn it off or not. So all this does is power the hopper that's down there in the center, and it just stops cactus from flowing. So that it just kind of builds up there and then they despawn over time. And I've actually got this off right now because I have a ton of cactus. I have not really needed it at all. I mean, you don't really have too many uses for cactus anyway. So that's the cactus farm, and I think that's pretty much everything on the surface for here. Oh, we missed the snowflake and the map. So the map is just a giant wall map of my area here, the sort of continent that I'm on. Pretty cool stuff. That's all I can say about that. It looks nice when it's filled out. Bit laggy, but not too bad. And then over here we have the snowflake. So the snowflake is an ice farm. This is kind of inspired by a build I saw Etho build at one point. He built a snowflake in his world. His wasn't an ice farm though, that was just a decorative build. I actually wanted to add some functionality to mine. That was one of the main objectives, and you'll read that if you read the book. Was to make as many things as possible, not just cosmetic, but also useful. See, another thing to add to the list, I'm missing stained glass there, one piece of white stained glass. So the ice farm, I guess we can sort of briefly go over how this works. There's no redstone in this one at all. Because I don't use it very often, I decided, based on that and also based on its location to everything else, not to integrate this one. So basically all you do is you harvest it with a silk touch pick, and then the water flows back in and it refills. And then I take the ice to the storage room manually. As I say, I very, very rarely use this. I think I've only ever used it once in the whole time that it's been built. So the other advantage through this is you get a nice view of the base as a whole there. So the ice farm, pretty cool. The other reason I chose not to integrate it is its geographical location to everything else. It's such a long way away, all the way up here. That would take a ridiculous amount of hoppers to get it down to the storage room. The storage room, you could almost just say, is right below that lake that we walked past. Right in the center of the base. It's basically right below that. So it's a real challenge to get all the way from there. I might have been able to do it with minecarts, but then I would have had to push buttons and everything else. It would have been a real pain. So I just decided to leave the integration out on that one. I don't have any dirt. I kind of don't like that look there where the slabs are. So everything else is kind of just cosmetic stuff, you know, a road that's just convenient to walk around, lamps to light everything up, keep the monsters out, that kind of thing. These are little lamps here, the green stained glass to keep things well lit with glowstone behind them. Got some flowers about the place just to kind of fill it out a little bit more. We have this little island here, which I'm really proud of, with the acacia trees. I actually built this little island up. There was just the pond here before. Got some flowers on there. Got our sugarcane. There's also a wall of sugarcane back there. That's to kind of determine where the edge of my base is. And then the wild terrain beyond. Pretty happy with the effect that that gives. And that's pretty much it for the surface. There's not too much else to talk about. I didn't build a whole lot on the surface in the grand scheme of things. A lot of it ended up underground. So I think we should probably go ahead and talk about that now. I've got a creeper over there. I'm going to have to be mindful. I'll sleep again, why not? Take a sip of orange. I'm going to need to keep regularly taking that today. Oh, hidden ender chest. Just didn't really know of a place for the ender chest, so I decided to hide it there. Where am I going here? I need to go downstairs. So now we go into the sort of real meat of the lab base, the underground part. There's a lot underground. So this is our initial entrance. We'll start over here. So there's 3 things in the white zone. There is the snow farm over here. And the idea is you would pick up a stone shovel, you flick this button, this lever here, and you sit there and farm snow. Just kind of hold down the left mouse button, I believe it is, yeah, to break it. And then every so often this piston fires, pushing the snow into this hopper here, because sometimes they kind of get stuck a little bit and they don't get absorbed into the hoppers. So there's a piston there to keep pushing them forward. And that goes into a chest here, and this option configures whether I want to send it to the storage system or not. There's a lot of that around here, a lot of storage system options. This one is the AFK fish farm, and credit where credit is due. This was designed by Panda from the ZipCrowd server. So, some water bottles in there. You go and sit in here and hold down right click with your fishing rod. You would rebind it to a key. You obviously have to turn it on, and you catch fish and other various things from this, such as treasure and enchanted books, that kind of thing. Pretty cool stuff. Again, I'm kind of whipping through everything here just to keep the video to a reasonable length. This is where I've spent many an hour. This is the infamous zombie grinder. This was my first enchantment station at this base, first anvil area. This is where the zombies fall. There used to be a ladder here, there used to be an old entrance. This just determines lighting. The idea is that you would turn this off, zombies would spawn, and that also toggles a piston as well, so that if the lighting is on, it engages a piston up there. You can kind of make it out right there. That stops any zombies from falling, so that you can hit this straight away. And what this is a standard lava blade. I don't know if it's considered a lava blade or a mob softener. There's different names for it. This is actually based off of a design I saw by HFog, and I really love this sort of mob softener setup here. The idea is, because they have a 4-block drop from there, that they will be 1 punch away from death, which is kind of difficult to achieve with zombies, but I managed to get that to work. Lots and lots of rotten flesh that I threw away. These are all empty because I transferred them up to the storage system. That's also empty. Got some healing potions in here to clear them out in one hit. Some enchanted books. These are low-level ones for combining. And this was old equipment. Cactus there to throw away rotten flesh. And just a standard crafting and brewing area, in case I needed to make potions or do crafting, that kind of thing. Maybe I wanted to make a new tool to repair or armor, so it was pretty useful. And then we kind of leave the white zone and we go into the main part, the red zone. So the red zone only has one thing in it, and that is the potion brewer. So the potion brewer is a very, very recent addition. This was one of the last things we did together. And this brews awkward potions. And there's a system back here for that. Can I break that and take a peek? I don't want to lose any clay. So this is our redstone here. Looks like we're out of glass bottles too. For those, gonna have to top that up. And the idea would be we'd push that button on the wall, that would activate for a period of time to let all of them flow into this chest and refill, so they brew the next batch of nether wart potions. Awkward potions, nether wart potions, yes, that's what you brew in this game. So down here is where they all flow to, and they end up in a brewing stand behind there. Can I do this without messing everything up? There we go. So there's a brewing stand in here. This is where they end up. This hopper feeds awkward potions. And then you can pick your ingredient, whatever it is. Say we wanted to make speed potions, we would hit that button. And then it would brew speed potions for us. We wanted to make them longer, we'd have redstone, speed 2, we have glowstone. We have gunpowder in here if I wanted to make them splash. And then it gets deposited in this chest when I hit this button here. And then I can take them, put them away in the storage. Or use them. I've occasionally used this. I haven't used it too much in the grand scheme of things, because as I say, it is a new addition. If I'd have built it earlier, I probably would have used it more. This is our filling station for glass bottles. The idea would be here, and we kind of need to top it up anyway, so you would feed glass bottles in by just right clicking here. Hold down shift and right click with your inventory full, and then it will flow down through the hoppers. It just automatically throws it out of your inventory, and it would go into the brewing stands below. So pretty cool stuff all around, I have to say. This is just a little view. This is a sort of re-textured cave almost with a lava flow in it that I made. The sort of theme underground in the base is that there is sort of like a sandstone mine zone or whatever cave system outside the base. Kind of a cool feel I wanted to go for. And then we sort of leave the red zone and we get to the crossroads. And the crossroads are in the middle of the storage system. I'm going to come back to the storage system and we're going to talk about that last, actually.